Welcome to you, the chosen one answering this call. When you play chess with a divine piece disguised as a pawn, do not be surprised if the chessboard turns over on its own. Let me repeat that for those in the back who thought they were clever. You do not win a spiritual game by cheating against someone who was sent as your final test. Here is the thing. Most manipulators never calculate. Some souls enter your life not to be used, but to be evaluated. And when they fail that evaluation, the universe does not just walk away. It restructures their entire reality. Let me drop a fact. According to behavioral psychology, chronic manipulators often believe they are invincible until the illusion of control backfires on them and triggers what is called a narcissistic collapse. But here is the twist no one talks about. When you manipulate a chosen one, it is not just your ego that collapses, it is the entire infrastructure of your life. And right now, someone who thought they could play God in your life is realizing they are not even qualified to be a supporting role in your destiny. They tried to dismantle your peace, tarnish your name, and destabilize your mind. But the game they started has now taken on a life of its own, and the endings they are living are not symbolic. These are spiritual eviction notices. And if you are wondering if they are okay, well, let us just say this. They no longer sleep, no longer think clearly, and suddenly believe Mercury has been in retrograde since the day they met you. Spoiler, it is not astrology, it is accountability. So buckle up, because in this video, we dive deep into karmic chaos, divine justice, and the staggering reversal that happens when someone plays a very dangerous game with a chosen one and loses everything. Let us begin. Number 1. They bet with your soul, and now they pay with theirs. They thought manipulating you was harmless. A little lie here, an emotional bait there. Pushing you, pulling you, disturbing you, then laughing when you questioned yourself. But what they did not understand is this. In targeting you, they were not just playing with another person. They were betting with something sacred. You were not just a human they could toy with. You were a soul on a mission carrying protection, purpose, and power that went far beyond what their limited eyes could see. What they triggered was not a simple misunderstanding, it was spiritual sabotage. And the price for that, they could neither foresee, nor control, nor escape. Because once they crossed that line, they activated something they were not prepared for. Spiritual law, not human law, not karma disguised as a pretty quote, but divine law, the one that recalibrates reality when injustice has been tolerated too long. The one that does not just give a slap on the wrist, but closes doors, strips illusions, and destroys everything built on manipulation. Now they chain loss after loss and cannot make the connection. But the truth is simple. They were not punished for hurting you. They were held accountable for misusing sacred energy. You were sent into their life not as a pawn, but as a test, a mirror, a lifeline. But they treated your soul like a playground, and now the game is over. The stakes were always higher than they thought. They did not just hurt you. They violated divine order, and in that moment, they sealed their own fate. They thought you were just a sensitive person, too kind, too forgiving. But they did not see the power standing behind your spirit. They did not realize that hurting you carried cosmic consequences. And now those consequences are unfolding faster than they can explain. The endings appearing in their life are not coincidences. They are not just bad days or strokes of bad luck. They are spiritual verdicts. The game they started is now out of their control, and the same energy they used to try to trap you is now the one turning their world upside down. Not because you cursed them, but because divine protection does not joke when it comes to the chosen. It plays for keeps. Number 2, they did not know you were protected by divine claws. They thought you were just another person they could manipulate, someone they could charm, manipulate, or trample without consequence. What they did not realize is that your life is protected by a divine clause, an invisible agreement written before they ever met you. You came into the world with a spiritual covering they could neither see nor understand. There are boundaries around your life that no one is allowed to cross without severe consequences. And they had no idea they were entering territory where grace has its limits. They thought they were dealing with someone weak, naive. But what they really did was trigger a divine response system that never sleeps. You may not have reacted as they expected. You may not have exposed them, argued, or attacked. But that silence was not empty, it was sacred. Because when a chosen one holds back, heaven notices. And when heaven responds, it does not do it halfway. It dismantles everything false. It cuts the root, not just the fruit. They broke the invisible code without even knowing it. They disrespected someone sent as a blessing. And now they wake up to a series of losses that seem like coincidences, but are actually corrections. Job opportunities vanishing, relationships suddenly crumbling, peace never returning. It is not bad luck, it is the divine claws catching up to them. What is crazy is that they had a chance. If they had honored you, supported you, or even just left you alone, things could have gone differently. But their ego could not resist testing you, and now that same ego that made them feel powerful in the moment drags them into public and private chaos. The protection around your life is not gentle when someone crosses the line. It is surgical. They did not just play with you. They violated a spiritual contract. They interfered with a chosen life path. And that kind of mistake always has a price. The danger was not in what you claimed to be. It was in what you truly are. A covered, chosen, and protected soul. They did not read the divine clause, but now they pay for every word written in it. Number 3. The mask they wore to deceive you has stuck to their face. They wore a mask so well that even you doubted your instincts. They pretended to care about you, to support you, to understand you. When in reality, every move was calculated. Every word was designed to twist your perception and manipulate your emotions. It was a performance, and for a while they got away with it. They played the role of the victim, the ally, the lover, the loyal friend, anything that allowed them to get closer to your light. But the truth about masks is that the longer you wear one, the harder it becomes to take off. And now that mask has stuck to their face. They lied so much that the lies became their personality. They manipulated for so long that they no longer know how to connect with anyone honestly. Their identity is now trapped in the illusion they used to catch you. They're no longer pretending. They have become the fake character they created. And the scariest part is that this character is now turning against them. When someone wears a false face too long, they start losing touch with their true self. Their soul ends up buried under layers of manipulation, pride, and fear. And eventually, the mask no longer just hides their truth. They start destroying everything behind it. This is where they are now. They no longer know who they are without the performance. They cannot be real because truth requires vulnerability, and they burned that bridge with everyone they used. The charm they used no longer works. The fake concern they used to gain sympathy is now seen as manipulation by the same people they once fooled. They are losing credibility, their reputation quietly crumbling. People withdraw not because of drama, but because of unease. Because the energy around them feels forced, artificial, and unstable. The mask gave them power for a moment, but now it has become their prison. They cannot remove it without exposing everything they did to keep it on. And here is the twist. They thought it would be you who collapsed. But you healed, you evolved, you saw clearly while they remained stuck, frozen in the identity they fabricated to control others. They thought they outsmarted. Instead, they outsmarted themselves. Now they fool no one, not even their own reflection. Number 4. They mocked your pain. Now they suffer without a witness. They mocked you when you were at your lowest. They joked about your breakdowns as if it were entertainment. They laughed behind closed doors, threw jabs in public, and made your suffering the punchline of their private conversations. To them, your pain was weakness, and your silence was a weapon. They thought your silent suffering meant they were winning. They never imagined that silence was a sacred space where your healing unfolded and their karma was written. They felt powerful mocking you, especially because they had an audience. The gossip gave them status. Your name gave them relevance, but now the crowd is gone. The spotlight is off, and the stage they built on your misfortune is completely empty. What they did not anticipate is the loneliness that follows when you become known for laughing at people instead of lifting them up. Now they suffer in private, and it is not the kind of pain that attracts sympathy. It is not something they can share with others. This pain is silent, suffocating, laced with the shame that hits when you realize you were completely wrong. They cannot post their grief. They cannot tweet their regrets, because admitting what they are going through would mean confessing what they did to you. They are stuck in an emotional cell, and the walls are closing in. No one applauds them anymore, no one listens. The same people who laughed with them are now wary, distant, or completely gone. And now they realize something brutal. They turned your suffering into a spectacle, and now life has turned theirs into a silent movie with no audience, no applause, and no escape. What breaks them is not just the pain, it is the silence they once mocked. They finally taste it, but instead of healing within like you did, they collapse. They have no anchor, no grace, no light. Because when you use someone else's suffering to feed your ego, life eventually takes you to a place where your ego cannot help you. They watched you crawl and laughed. Now they fall with no one watching and no one caring enough to catch them. Number 5. Their entire life becomes a scene of spiritual contamination. Everything they once controlled starts slipping away. The spaces they used to dominate, deceive, and manipulate close in on them. Their homes feel heavy. Their relationships are filled with distrust and tension. Their workplace is uncomfortable, full of misunderstanding, betrayal, and an energy they cannot dispel. What is happening is not random. It is spiritual contamination. They spent so much time creating environments where they could stay in power, where they could twist the truth, control narratives, and sow seeds of confusion. But what they did not realize is that energy does not stay directed only at others. It saturates the space from which it is sent. And now the poison they directed at you seeps into every corner of their own life. They created spaces to mock you, isolate you, or turn others against you. But now those same places collapse. Conversations around them feel awkward and hollow. The people they once convinced so easily start seeing through their game. It is as if a fog is lifting, but only for others. They continue operating with a script that no longer works. They cannot rest at home. The atmosphere is heavy, their sleep disturbed. The walls that once brought comfort now echo every lie they told. Their relationships fray too, because control is a poor substitute for connection. And when manipulation is the foundation, collapse is guaranteed. Even at work or in public, they carry something heavy. People may not know the full story, but they feel the shift. The charm is gone. The words no longer have the same impact. The aura they wore like armor now smells of desperation. This is because the energy they sent into the world is now folding back on itself, and nothing they built is immune to it. The trap they set for you has turned into a cage around them. They thought they could control outcomes by creating toxic spaces, but energy does not take sides. It follows the source, and since they were the source of that darkness, that same energy now dismantles everything they touched, quietly, precisely, brutally. Number 6. They thought breaking you was a game. Now their mind is the battlefield. They thought they could break you and walk away unscathed. They thought the lies, manipulation, and emotional sabotage would shatter you and reinforce their feelings of control. They played psychological games like it was a hobby, testing your limits, watching your reactions, feeding off your confusion. To them, it was all a twisted strategy to win a game you did not even know existed. But they never asked what would happen if the game turned on them. Now their own mind has become hostile territory. The peace they faked is gone. The confidence they pretended to have is crumbling. They are nervous, anxious, questioning everything and everyone, including themselves. They are haunted not only by guilt, but by fear. Fear that the truth will burst out. Fear that karma is watching. Fear that what they did to you will come back in a form they cannot anticipate. The silence they used to control you has turned against them. It is too loud now. They cannot escape their own thoughts. They no longer sleep without tension. They replay conversations that never happened. They try to predict outcomes they do not control. They obsess over people who no longer trust them. They overinterpret every look, every word, every pause in a text message. This is the kind of mental chaos that does not announce itself with fireworks but slowly erodes stability. And the worst part is they cannot ask for help because that would involve telling the truth. They would have to admit what they did, how calculated it was, and that they are truly unraveling. But their pride will not let them. So instead, they keep pretending, smiling on the outside, spiraling on the inside. They had a playbook. Control the narrative, stay 10 steps ahead, unbalance others. But now they are the unbalanced ones, and the war they launched to destroy your peace has turned into a mental war zone they cannot escape. There is no more strategy, no more moves to play, no inner army to fight because the game is over, and they lost themselves in the process. Number 7. Their karma did not knock. It kicked the door down. Karma did not show up politely. It did not whisper. It did not warn. It burst in as if it had been waiting too long to collect the debt. This is not the kind of karma talked about online with soft quotes and soothing music. This is the one that reorganizes lives without notice. It arrives uninvited, flips their reality upside down, and dares them to explain it. And honestly, they cannot. They thought what they did to you would stay buried, that no one saw it, that no one cared. But the universe was watching, and it does not forget. It does not just track what was done. It tracks why it was done. The smirks, the arrogance, the pleasure they took in your suffering. It remembers their smugness, their sense of power, the way they thought they were untouchable. And it is that part that activated this level of wrath. It was not just the betrayal, it was the pride they displayed while committing it. Now they face backlash they never anticipated. Opportunities vanish. People walk away. What they counted on, money, reputation, support systems, collapses all at once. Nothing holds, nothing feels solid, and it happens too fast for them to manage. Because this karma does not progress in steps. It comes in waves, heavy, relentless, humiliating. Every lie they told, every seed of doubt they planted, every fake smile they flashed while stabbing you in the back, it all resurfaces now. Not metaphorically. Literally, people see it, expose it, leave them with nowhere to hide. This is not punishment, it is correction. A full reset designed not just to humiliate them, but to remind every part of their being that divine order cannot be mocked. And here is the twist. They did not expect the consequences to have teeth. They expected a delay, maybe some guilt or a mild backlash. But what they face now is not emotional discomfort, it is spiritual demolition. The door they slammed in your face has been ripped off its hinges. And now karma walks through every room of their life, overturning tables and pulling out receipts. This is what happens when you play dirty and think the universe is asleep. It is not asleep. It is just patient. But when it moves without mercy. Number 8. They used you as a shield. Now they are exposed on all fronts. They were not drawn to you just for who you were. They were drawn to the protection, the light, the peace surrounding you. They saw your energy as a safe place to hide their own darkness. Being near you gave them access to favor they had not earned, attention they did not deserve, and grace they had no intention of honoring. You became their spiritual covering, a shield against judgment, suspicion, or even consequences. They thought by staying close to you, they could keep their true nature hidden. And for a time it worked. People assumed the best of them simply because you were by their side. Your goodness rubbed off on them. Your discernment, your patience, your credibility gave them a pass they never earned. But they were not trying to grow. They were not trying to change. They were just trying to blend in. They used your light as a mask, hoping no one would look further. But energy does not lie forever, and God does not let His chosen be used as hiding places for long. The moment you withdrew, detached, disconnected, or finally said enough, that covering lifted, and what remains is raw exposure. The people who once gave them the benefit of the doubt start questioning everything. The inconsistencies start showing. The charm no longer works the same way, and without your light to soften their presence, the energy they carry is sharp, strange, and uncomfortable. Now they panic. They try to recreate what they had with you, looking for someone else to mask their dysfunction. But it does not work because truth has a way of surfacing when the cover is gone. And now the dirt they buried under your grace overflows. They can no longer hide behind your kindness. They can no longer use your silence as a shield. They are exposed on all fronts, emotionally, socially, spiritually. People notice. Opportunities dry up. Connections fade. They now carry the full weight of their own energy. And it is not pretty, It is not impressive, it is not divine. The very protection they abused has become the judgment they face now. You were never their shield. You were their warning. They just did not listen, and now no one comes to their rescue. Number 9. They lied about you so well they believed it until reality destroyed their illusion. They told the story so many times they started believing it themselves. They painted you as the problem, the unstable one, the disloyal one. They repeated the lies in their head until they could recite them without flinching. They presented themselves as the victim so convincingly that people started taking their side. Friends, family, even strangers. Some believed the script because it sounded smooth and emotional. And the worst part is they thought they got away with it. They thought controlling the narrative meant controlling the truth. They confused being believed with being right. But truth does not depend on popularity. It is not loud, it is not flashy, but it is steady, it waits quietly, and now one by one, the lies they built are crumbling. The story no longer holds, the timelines do not match, the facts contradict their claims, and people start noticing the cracks. Reality does what you did not have to do. It reveals everything they tried to bury, not through arguments or drama, but through consequences. The people they manipulated are now comparing notes. The masks they wore slip. The inconsistencies are louder than the gossip ever was. And it is not just about losing favor. It is a total collapse of credibility. They thought lying about you would elevate them. They thought putting you down would make them look strong, wise, or misunderstood. But now that the illusion is breaking, they realize something painful. If your character had to be destroyed for theirs to make sense, then theirs was never real to begin with, and the fallout is brutal. The relationships they used to manipulate others collapse. People walk away not out of loyalty to you, but out of unease with them. Because the same false narrative that once convinced others now makes everyone suspicious. If they could lie so well about you, who else have they lied about or falsified? They turned lies into weapons until the weapon turned on them. And now the truth does not just catch up to them. It slowly, publicly, relentlessly overtakes them. They believe their own lie. But reality never did, and now it shows up to clear your name without you saying a word. Number 10. They became addicted to manipulating you and lost control of their own life. At first, it was a game to them. Subtle manipulations, emotional push-pull, mixed signals. They loved seeing how you reacted. It gave them a thrill. Every time you questioned yourself, over-explained, or tried to earn their approval, it gave them a false sense of power. They were not just trying to hurt you. They were trying to feel important, and your reactions became their drug. They fed off the control. They learned which buttons to push, which words to say, when to go cold, when to pull you back. It was an unhealthy cycle, and they thought they were the masters of it. But what they did not realize is that they were the ones becoming addicted. Slowly, your emotional responses became their only source of validation. They did not want love, respect, or peace. They wanted control, and once they had it, they wanted more to feel relevant. They built their entire identity around being the one who could shake you. And every time you reacted, they felt bigger, stronger, smarter. But beneath it all, a deep insecurity, because people who truly feel powerful do not need to destroy someone else to feel whole. Now that you have disconnected emotionally, physically, or spiritually, they are in free fall. The same tactics no longer work. The games fall flat. The silence they once used to punish you now engulfs them. And what is terrifying for them is that nothing else fills that void. Not attention from others, not new relationships, not fake confidence, because what they were feeding on was your energy, and it never belonged to them. Without your presence, their false source of power has been cut off. And now their life feels chaotic, messy, boring, out of control. They felt in charge when they could provoke you, but now they are left with their own emptiness. And it is loud. They did not realize how much they depended on your energy until it was gone. Now their days feel meaningless. Their interactions feel superficial, and the obsession they had with controlling you has turned into a gnawing addiction they cannot satisfy. They thought they owned, but in reality, they lost themselves trying to control someone who was never meant to be theirs. Number 11. They made you out to be their enemy, but you were their final test. They did not just misjudge you. They completely misinterpreted your presence in their life. You were not sent to hurt them, compete with them, or challenge them for dominance. You were a divine checkpoint, a spiritual test, a moment in their timeline where they had the chance to grow or collapse. But because they were too deep in their ego, too obsessed with control, and too triggered by your light, they saw you as a threat instead of a teacher. Instead of aligning with you, they attacked you. Instead of learning from your example, they tried to break your spirit. They made you out to be their enemy, not because you did anything wrong, but because you revealed something uncomfortable in them. Your self-awareness exposed their emotional immaturity. Your strength reminded them of everything they had suppressed. Your peace irritated the parts of them still at war. And rather than sit with that discomfort and evolve, they chose sabotage. They had the chance to level up, confront their wounds, heal through connection. But their pride was stronger than their inner voice. Their need to feel powerful was stronger than their conscience. So they crossed a line that should never have been crossed. And what they did not understand is that failing a spiritual test with malice does not just miss an opportunity. It triggers a chain reaction of consequences. Now they face the fallout. They feel stuck, stagnant, surrounded by the same cycles they thought they controlled. The same tricks no longer work. The same manipulation no longer lands. The doors that once opened stay closed. It is not random, it is a spiritual lockdown. You were their mirror, and instead of facing the reflection, they tried to shatter it. Now that reflection follows them everywhere, in relationships, in jobs, in the silent moments they cannot escape. The lesson they refuse to learn from you now repeats through loss, loneliness, and breakdowns. What could have been their evolution has become their downfall. And the most brutal part is that it did not have to be this way. You were not their enemy. You were their opportunity. But they took your light as a challenge, and now all they have left is the darkness they created for themselves. Number 12. They underestimated the cost of abusing sacred energy. They did not just misuse your energy. They tried to steal it. They thought they could draw from your light without honoring its source. They saw your kindness as something to manipulate, your peace as something to divert, and your empathy as a tool they could twist to their advantage. What they did not realize is that your energy was not ordinary. It was sacred. It was designed with divine intention, wrapped in spiritual laws, and protected by forces they cannot even name. You were not just a kind person. You walked with something holy. Your presence brought clarity, your words brought healing, and your silence carried weight. But instead of treating it with reverence, they tried to use it as leverage. They wanted the benefits of being near you without the responsibility of respecting you. They wanted your shine, but not your boundaries. They wanted to drain you without giving anything back. That was their first mistake, because spiritual energy is not free to take. It is currency, and like any system of value, it tracks who takes what and why. What they did to you was not just emotional manipulation. It was spiritual fraud. They forged a connection. They faked vulnerability. They pretended to give while taking. And in the unseen realm, it was all recorded. Not by people, not by gossip, but by the very laws that govern balance, truth, and justice. Now that energy is coming back to be repaid, and the interest is high. Things collapse not because someone cursed them, but because the divine does not allow sacred things to be exploited without consequence. Their peace is disturbed, their luck runs dry, their relationships feel empty. They keep trying to fill themselves through external means, but nothing works because the source they tried to steal from you has been cut off and, worse, exposed. They underestimated you because you did not fight dirty, because you loved purely, but they never saw that this love was sacred, that it carried generational power, that it was tied to something greater than them. And now they discover what happens when someone takes from the divine without permission. It was not revenge, it was not bitterness, it was balance. And now the spiritual system they thought was invisible is reclaiming every drop stolen. Number 13. They did not just lose you, they lost access to a realm they will never enter again. They did not just lose your presence, they lost access to a spiritual dimension that only you could offer them. What they never realized is that you were not just offering a connection. You were offering elevation. Peace followed you because it lived in you. Opportunities opened around you because your energy aligned with higher realms. You did not just enter their life. You brought favor, alignment, clarity, and acceleration. And instead of respecting that, they took it for granted. Worse, they took you for someone ordinary. While they were busy manipulating the connection, they missed the miracles standing right in front of them. You were not just there to comfort them. You were the bridge between the life they were stuck in and the version of themselves they were called to become. And that bridge did not come cheap. It came with spiritual responsibility, but they treated your presence like it was replaceable, like it was luck, like it was something they stumbled upon by chance, not something they had been gifted. Now that you are gone, the change is undeniable. Peace vanished, ease flew away, open doors slammed shut, and they start realizing that the glow they once felt was not theirs. It was borrowed. They basked in your light, profited from your alignment, accessed rooms they had no key to because you were the access point. You were the reason things flowed. And now that you have withdrawn, that realm is sealed. No matter how many affirmations they recite or how many people they try to substitute for you, the vibration will not respond. Because the door was never opened by their charm. It opened because of your frequency, and now that frequency no longer recognizes them. Not because you are bitter, but because spiritual doors respond to energy, not excuses. They did not just lose you. They lost the divine connection you carried, the favor that moved when you prayed, the clarity that came when you listened, the protection that followed you into every space. And that kind of access does not reopen once it has been disrespected. Not in the same way, not for the same person. They thought they were walking away from a person, but what they really left was the rarest of portals, a human gateway to realms they will never touch again. Number 14. Your restraint was not weakness. It was the last mercy they will ever receive. They took your silence for surrender. They thought because you did not react, did not expose them, or did not fight back, they had surpassed you. But what they never understood is that your restraint was not fear, it was power. It was not you being passive, it was the universe holding its breath. Your silence was not permission. It was their final chance to make it right before something far greater than you intervened. You knew what they did. You saw the manipulation, felt the betrayal, carried the weight of their lies. And yet you did not strike. Not because you could not, but because you knew some things were above your hands. You did not stay silent out of weakness. You stayed silent because mercy was still possible. The divine was still waiting for them to take responsibility. But they took that grace period and treated it like victory. They celebrated a war that was not over, taking your peace for defeat. They did not know that your restraint was actually their last layer of protection. Because once that divine grace period expires, it does not rain, it floods. And now that time is up. What comes for them is not vengeance, it is balance. And balance has no favorites. It does not care who cried louder or who played the victim better. It only cares about truth. And the truth is what they did, how they did it, and the pride they carried while doing it has reached its spiritual expiration date. Now the consequences that were once held back are released, and nothing can stop them. Not denial, not manipulation, not charm. They had the chance to repent in private, to acknowledge the damage, to own their part. But they chose to act like nothing happened, like you were overreacting, like their version of the story was more valid than the pain you carried. That pride sealed their fate, and now the silence they once mocked turns into a judgment they cannot escape. Not because you wished it, but because divine law always acts in the end. Your silence was not loss, it was grace. And now that grace is gone. They thought they got away with it, but what they really got was time, and they wasted it. Now the correction begins, and no one is coming to stop it. The biggest mistake one can make is confusing divine restraint with absence. They thought because nothing happened immediately, nothing would ever happen. They thought your silence was submission, your grace weakness, and your departure insignificant. But what they did not see is that you were never just a person in their life. You were a divine checkpoint, a sacred mirror, a final test. And now that you have withdrawn, the spiritual system they mocked settles its accounts. Every tactic they used to hurt you, manipulate you, or humiliate you comes back to them now. not out of revenge, but because balance cannot be denied. The energy they buried, twisted, and distorted resurfaces. And this time, it comes with a price no ego can pay. They did not just lose your presence. They lost access to a divine current that flowed through you. A frequency they mistook for luck, charm, or coincidence. What they face now is what happens when grace is wasted, when sacred energy is exploited, and when a spiritual test is failed with full arrogance. You were their warning before the collapse, their lifeline before the fall. And now the door is sealed, the system has moved on. And what they have left is the full weight of their own choices. Choices that once felt powerful, but now feel like quicksand. So do not mourn your silence, do not question your distance, and do not regret your kindness. You did your part. You showed up as a light in the life of someone who chose shadows. And though they made you out to be their enemy, all you ever were was a final invitation to evolve. Now the invitation has expired, and the consequences are just beginning. If this message touched your spirit, if it confirmed what you already knew in your soul, then do not keep it to yourself. Go ahead, like this video, leave a comment below, and share it with someone who needs to hear the truth out loud. You never know who is going through a spiritual war in silence and waiting for confirmation. And if you have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another message like this. This is not just content, it is clarity. And we are building a tribe that sees beyond the surface. Thank you for being here.